Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Posted to r/am I the butt face? Am I the butt face for telling my daughter how it really is? I can't take that title seriously. I'm new to this, so if there's something I'm doing wrong with the post, tell me. I'm coming on to talk a little bit about what's going on between me and my daughter. She's 25 and she does have autism, but she's high functioning, so I believe she can do more than what she said she can do. She currently has a part-time job. I'm not saying the name of the job for safety reasons, but she's only working 2 days a week. She has been really hesitant to drive the last 3 years because the last time I tried talking to her about driving, she about backed into another car and it freaked both of us out. So, because she doesn't have her driver's license and is relying on the city bus to get her back and forth to work, she's having a hard time finding another job that will hire her. She's now working on learning how to drive with an occupational therapist that is an hour away from us, but she is using her insurance transportation system to get her back and forth instead of paying for gas herself. Something she could have done a long time ago with the driver's ed in our town. She's also fighting to get on disability because in 6 months she'll be 26 and will lose her insurance. Her mom and her aunt and uncle have been helping her with this. I told her that being a social security rat... What the fuck? I told her that being a social security rat the rest of her life isn't going to get her far, and she needs to stop being so lazy and playing her games and using her autism as an excuse. Oh boy. The comment section will not be kind to you. Oh god. A big thing that's bothering me is she hardly ever comes out to see me anymore. I did not hear from her at all on Easter weekend. Her sister ended up moving back in with her cat, so I figured that would bring her over more, but it's not. She has no excuse not to come see me as she only works 2 days a week. I only see her 4 days a month if I'm lucky. She sees her mom, aunt, and uncle way more than she sees me, and when I ask her why, she won't tell me. I'm going through a rough patch right now, so things have been hard on me too. Anyways, I told my daughter not to be a social security rat and now she doesn't come to see me anymore. Why is that? I mean, I only told her this is how the world is and stop using her autism as an excuse. I don't understand why she sees everyone else constantly except for me. Dude, the easiest way that I can explain what it's like being non-neurotypical, whether it's ADHD or high-functioning autism, is, yeah, you got yourself a car. Everyone has a car to get to work. But your car always has the check engine light on. A tire is always going flat. Maybe you're dealing with something of the radiator's about to fail, the transmission's having problems. Sometimes the engine just doesn't want to turn over. So, every morning, you have to put extra effort in to make sure that the car actually starts and can get to work. It's exhausting. It's extra steps, it's part of your morning, but you make it work, you make do. But you start your day off behind everyone else. You get to work late. And when you try to explain what's going on, people don't seem to understand. They just see it as, well, you have a car, and you got here, so it can't be that bad. And no matter how much effort you put into trying to fix that car, something will always go wrong with it. Something will always set you back. Something will always cost you more energy than you're expecting, and something will always throw your day off. And it's something that you can't explain to regular people because it's, well, my car doesn't do that, so you must just be exaggerating, or just do this instead. It always feels like you're doing just good enough to make it by, but you're always one step behind everyone else. And then when you try to explain what's going on to everyone else, they just simply say, sounds like you're using your car as an excuse. Cross-posted from r/entitled people. Entitled Client learns that professionals can in fact walk away. I work as an engineer. I do some consulting on the side, but typically only for people I know and as a favor. A good friend asked me to help his in-laws who were doing some fairly massive renovations/additions. I agreed solely because he asked me to. This is not something I have any interest or need in doing except as a favor. It's an old house and had "can of worms" written all over it with some of the changes they wanted to do. Now, he warned me that the mother-in-law can be unpleasant, but that was an understatement. She seemed to think that because I was being paid, I charged probably 1/10 what a business would, she could snap her fingers at me like a servant. I had a few unpleasant emails with her, but it was tolerable. She was rude when I was pointing out issues with her plans, but nothing too extreme. That changed when I started trying to find a time for me to stop by and inspect a few areas of the house to verify some information. I offered times to stop by on the weekend, but that didn't work for her. Tried evening times. Still a no. Nope. She wanted me to stop by during my office work hours because that was best for her. When I told her no, this gets done on the weekends or in the evening, she went from rude to incredibly hostile, telling me that she's paying me, LOL, and that I work with her availability, not the other way around. Carbon copied my friend in on the chain, told them I was out and to have fun working with whoever they get. Friend apologized. I said no worries, not my problem anymore. She emailed back quite stunned that I was walking away, telling me that it's not how business is conducted. I didn't bother responding. About 3 weeks later, I get an email from the husband now asking me if I would reconsider, and he promised that his wife won't speak to me or be involved in any way. I hear from my friend that while the quotes came back much higher, which was tolerable for them, but it was how long the wait was. They just bought this house and wanted to move in ASAP, but it's an incredibly busy time of the year for the industry. Turns out when companies you reach out to are drowning in work and you have a potentially convoluted and messy project, they aren't chomping at the bit to get your business. So now, they're going to lose the trades they lined up because design would be a month or two out. I passed on the request as I struggled to believe she would be kept in check and had no desire to bail her out. My friend didn't care. Said it was nice watching her attitude give her consequences that actually affect her. I mean, my first question is was she made aware that this was being done essentially as a favor, and they were charging like quite a bit lower than industry standard for this job? This is actually my dad's line of work, and this is kind of exactly what he does on the side too, where people who are looking to do renovation projects, he ensures that, everything's up to code and any building modifications made are, properly engineered and whatnot. I don't really know how he does it. All I do is give him tech support and build him computers when he needs them. But I know from growing up with him just how much effort something like this can actually take, especially when dealing with older homes. Hell, when I was younger, I used to tag along on home inspections with him when he would go and take a look and just see what all was going on. And I've definitely heard some, "What the hell is this?" under his breath while looking at some of the older homes constructed in Idaho. But back to OP's story. I really do wonder if it was made crystal clear to the in-laws that my friend is doing this as a favor. God, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when they started getting quotes from their engineering firms and just finding out how badly they fucked the deal up. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for not inviting my sister to my wedding because she always jokes about sleeping with my fiance? Okay, so I'm getting married in October. Small, chill, nothing crazy. Should be a happy time, right? Except my older sister, 31 female, has this thing where she constantly flirts with my fiance, 29 male, like aggressively. And it's always under the guise of, "Oh my god, I'm just joking, don't be so sensitive." First time she met him, deadass said, "Wow, you upgraded. I'd let him ruin my life too." In front of me. I laughed it off because I didn't want to seem insecure, but like, what the fuck? Then she started with the, "If you ever get bored of her, you know who to call" comments. Again, in front of me. I told her it was weird and she rolled her eyes and said I'm too uptight. She's made so many little jabs. I saw him shirtless once. Damn girl, you got lucky. If you die first, I call dibs. Too bad you got to him first. LOL. Like it never ends. My fiance thinks it's awkward but tries to ignore it. He's not flirtatious back, but he also doesn't really shut it down either. Just gets uncomfortable and laughs nervously. Last weekend was the last straw. We were at my parents' house and I left to grab something from my car. Came back and heard her saying, "I swear, I'm not making this up. I mean, if you're having second thoughts, I'm always available." Just kidding. Unless. Like, the unless was real. That's not a joke anymore. That's a goddamn come on. I snapped. Told her she's disgusting and can't come to the wedding. She flipped. Cried. Told my mom I was being dramatic. Now the whole family's saying I'm ruining the family over a joke. And she's just always been flirty and doesn't mean anything by it. I don't even care if she meant it or not anymore. I just don't want that energy around me when I'm trying to get married. But now it's this whole thing and I'm apparently the villain for excluding her and making it a bigger deal than it is. Am I the asshole for uninviting her, or is this actually insane? Because at this point, I feel like I'm losing it. Gotta love the classic Schrodinger's bastard. They say something to probe the waters, see if they get any bites, but if the reaction's negative, suddenly it's, oh, whoa, I was just kidding. Come on, it's just a joke. You're so sensitive. Oh my God. Like, if she actually, in front of your parents, literally told your boyfriend/fiance that she's always available, just kidding, unless. And the fact that your parents don't see a red flag with that, that's just, either they're so goddamn dense that they sink in oil, or they just don't give a shit. Either way, not your problem. And real quick, before y'all hop on the fiance for not jumping in and saying stop, you gotta remember, he's pretty much being sexually harassed by a future family member. Can you really blame him for locking up and freezing? Not everyone's gonna have the perfect response, especially if OP never actually properly voiced the discomfort with it. OP's fiance could have been in the boat of, oh, this family's just really flirty and I don't want to make a scene, so I'm just gonna kinda laugh it off, haha. In my eyes, it would be a problem if he was actively reciprocating the flirting and flirting back. Then that's when it would become a problem. But him locking up and freezing up, that's a completely human response, and it would be unfair to fault him for that. OP has previously also voiced their discomfort with her sister flirting with her fiance, so yeah, she's totally within her right to draw a line in the sand and be like, hey, I'm not comfortable with you, who's trying to literally steal my fiance from me, coming to my wedding. That's completely fair. Cross posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for not picking my sister up from the airport because she called my car embarrassing? Throwaway because she's already mad enough and I don't need her stalking my account, lol. So, my sister flew in yesterday and asked if I could pick her up. I said sure, no problem. I have a super old Honda Civic. It runs fine, but yeah, it's got dents. The AC squeals a little, whatever. 10 minutes before her flight lands, she texts me, can you park far? I don't want people thinking I'm getting in that embarrassing car. I stared at it for a second and then just didn't go. I turned off my phone and went home. She called our mom from the terminal crying because I stranded her in another city. She didn't just roast the only free ride she had. She ended up getting an Uber for $75, and now she's texting me paragraphs about how I'm spiteful and childish. I don't even feel bad. Am I the asshole? So, it's either no, not the asshole, or yes, but a justified asshole that I agree with. I mean, hey, she told you to park far. You could always just make the comment, yeah, I parked at home. Is that far enough for you? Because, if your sister is vain enough to give a shit what strangers at the airport are thinking about her as she hops into a car, that, she'll never see those people again. But she will see OP again. She chose the opinion of strangers over their sibling. And that $75? That's the, you don't want to get picked up in my shitty Honda Civic tax. The car works. What do you want? Honestly, I don't think I've ever looked at a person and judged them at the airport for what kind of car they're getting into. If they're getting into an Aston Martin or something, yeah, I'll be a little excited, but I'm excited about the car, not the person. I don't give a shit who's driving it or getting into it. I just like seeing the car. Cross posted from Best Of. The user that collected this post is That Neon Sign Lover. And their tagline is, knocking cousins unconscious. I'll need to hunt that one down and figure out where that one originates from. Posted originally to r/relationship advice by user ThrowRarUnite Family. My fiance's estranged family reached out and asked me to help them fix their relationship with him. Me, 28 female, and my fiance, 34 male, have been together for 4 years now. He was in a previous marriage before we met that ended in divorce because his ex-wife had a long-term affair. During their marriage, my fiance was diagnosed with cancer and went through a very tough battle. During that time, his family found out that his wife was cheating on him through a third party, but they didn't tell him because he was very sick. They basically hid the truth from him and let his ex-wife be around him. My fiance thankfully won his battle, and towards the middle of his recovery, his ex-wife came clean because she felt guilty. She told him that she wanted to come clean before, but his family convinced her to keep quiet for his sake. My fiance felt betrayed by both his wife and family. When he got better, he divorced and eventually moved away from the city he, his ex-wife, and his family lived in. He very rarely speaks to his family, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and they tend to be very short in superficial conversations. His relationship with his family is very strained and practically non-existent. I've never met any of his family members for the entire time we've been together. They haven't come to visit, and he hasn't gone to visit them. Today, I received a message on Facebook from what seems to be his older sister. I have no idea how she found me, but she seems to know about my fiancé and I being engaged. Long message short, she asked if I could help reunite my fiancé and his family. She talked about them maybe flying to our city, and asked if I could somehow get my fiancé to meet them. I haven't responded to her, and I don't know if I should. She explained why they didn't tell him about his cheating wife. According to her, they didn't want to bring any more suffering and pain, which I somehow get. I'm not saying that I agree with what they did or would do something like that. I also very much get and respect how my fiancé feels. Even before the whole cheating thing, my fiancé said he's had other problems with his family in the past. It seems he's always had a difficult relationship with his family. Basically, I wanted to ask what you guys think I need to do. Do I try to help them, or do I just ignore his sister's message? I think that sometimes in life we might need others to encourage us into doing something we don't want to, because it could ultimately benefit us further down the road. But at the same time, we shouldn't push/force people into doing just anything. Edit. I am going to tell him about the message regardless. He's coming home later this evening, and that's when I'll tell him. I just wanted to beforehand get some advice on whether I should encourage him or reconsider the situation if he initially says he doesn't want to do it, or should I not say anything if he says no and drop it forever. Update, posted 6 hours ago. Thanks for all the advice, I really appreciate it. I showed my fiancé the message, which is something I always was going to do. He wasn't home when I received it, and I was waiting for him to get home. He read it, and we ended up having a long conversation after that. He told me more about his relationship with his family members. I already knew since a long time ago that his parents passed away when he was young, which made his upbringing hard. As an adult, he became the most accomplished member of his family, and kind of took care and helped his siblings. I knew that they took advantage of him numerous times, and he told me a few stories in the past, but he ended up telling me other ones that have me thankful we don't have to include them in our lives. My fiancé ended up responding to her from my account and signed the message with his name. His sister replied with a very long message followed by an audio recording accusing me of trying to keep him away from them and calling me a selfish gold-digging bitch. My fiancé and I listened to her audio together and he wanted to respond to her, but I convinced him that it wasn't worth it and that she probably wanted a reaction. I guess it's safe to say I'm never meeting his family, or at least his older sister. Anyway, thanks again for the help. With a reaction like that, the sister seems to be an absolutely lovely individual. It can't possibly be that my brother still feels betrayed after all of these years that we hid the fact that his wife was cheating on him. No. It must be that his new wife is a gold-digging bitch that wants to keep him from us. Yeah, that makes sense. Cross-posted from r/am_I_the_asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to talk things out with my ex after I broke up with her for trying to befriend my estranged brother and pushing me to reconcile with him? I, 25 male, was with my ex Emily, 24 female, for 3 years. We broke up 2 months ago. Or I broke up with her 2 months ago to give full transparency. Even before we got together, Emily knew I was estranged from my brother Travis, 28 male. Growing up with Travis was rough. I don't know for sure why he hated me, but it was always that way. Our parents were constantly on him as a kid for not treating me with civility at a minimum. They did so much to try and make his treatment of me better until eventually they kept us apart as much as they could. I know it broke their hearts, but Travis went out of his way to say cruel things about me. From mocking how I spoke with my stutter, to making fun of the fact I was bullied at school and saying I deserved it for being fucking dumb, to telling me everyone's life was better when I wasn't born, and how he'd go back and stop our parents from having me if he could. Travis hated me more when he was punished. He blamed me for getting him in trouble with mom and dad. He wouldn't work on those issues with therapists either. Mom and dad must have tried dozens, and some were family therapists. Travis was stubborn. He went as far as getting his friend's sister to ask me to prom and say she liked me and stuff, and then mock me during prom. He knew I had a crush on her, and she went along with it because he brought her alcohol or something. Travis wasn't as welcome at home after that. Mom and Dad were pissed he'd go so far when he was supposedly an adult now, even if he was a younger adult. Our lives have been totally separate since, and Emily knew this. We talked about it and what I went through. Then, 6 months ago, after she started getting closer to my family, she started talking more about Travis, and then she told me she had gotten his contact info off a family member and was trying to befriend him. She told me he was family, and we should all work things out. I told her I did not like her doing that, and it felt like she was stabbing me in the back. She told me she should be allowed to form her own relationships, but she didn't stop there. She was talking with Travis some, though he wasn't very responsive to her. So she pushed me hard to reconcile with him after she refused to stop, and made it clear she wanted to be his friend and have him in our lives. And I told her I was not staying in this relationship. She didn't think I'd actually break up with her, but I did. I took my stuff from her place and gave her stuff at my place back, and I cut ties with her. And I thanked my lucky stars we hadn't moved in together yet. She tried to contact me, but I ignored her, and I avoided places where I might run into her. She tried to reach out via friends, and I told them they could leave it alone because there was no coming back. She got one mutual friend to tell me over and over how she didn't want to end our relationship, and how she wanted us to talk it out and figure out a way to move forward together. I told that friend that she didn't need to be her messenger, and I was not interested in hearing what she has to say. Then, she showed up on a night out and tried talking to me, and I told her to leave me alone. She told me we needed to speak and to please hear her out, and that she was trying super hard. That one mutual friend told me I was being an ass, and I should give Emily a chance to work on this. That I was already being a stubborn ass by wanting her to not talk to people because I didn't like them. And she said it didn't matter what Travis did to me. That Emily was allowed to want to talk to him. She said I sabotaged me and Emily by throwing up so many roadblocks. And not letting Emily talk now was trying to punish her when she wasn't wrong. Am I the asshole? Nah, you're good, fam. Yeah, I think Emily put it best when she said, how was it? Oh yeah, she told me she should be allowed to form her own relationships. And yeah, you're allowed to form your own relationships too. She prioritized trying to befriend your abusive brother, and you decided that you wanted none of that. And she thinks that she's justified and within her right to try and force you two to rebond with each other. Like, yeah, Emily is allowed to talk to Travis. By all means, that's 100% her choice. But there are consequences that come with that. I wonder if Emily has some kind of romanticized view of family and thinks that with a little bit of talking and some Hallmark movie magic, everything will be A-okay. And then when met with resistance, it suddenly became about, oh, you're just trying to put up boundaries and control me. When, no, you just can't force OP to reestablish a relationship with an abusive family member they've cut from their life. Now, even if, let's say in the tragic scenario, it turns out Travis was being abused by the parents and was taking out the frustrations on OP, which I could certainly see being a possibility, Travis still took out those frustrations onto OP, and OP is none the wiser. Travis, if this is the case, perpetuated the cycle. Even if Emily was trying to mend the cycle, OP was still a victim of Travis's abuse, and OP should not be forced to forgive Travis for what he's done. The blame should be circled then to the parents. But that's only a theory, and if that is what's going on, it certainly wasn't the reason why Emily was stepping in for Travis, because she was more concerned with the fact that OP was trying to control her relationships and putting up roadblocks, rather than confronting OP about the fact that, hey, maybe your parents were abusive. No. Instead, Emily has apparently phrased this as her being punished when she wasn't in the wrong. I only bring this up because I have seen comments in the past that are along the lines of, Oz, I'm disappointed you didn't pick up on the fact that this person was obviously abused in this setting. Shame on you. So because of that, I might be trying to overcompensate and try to think of every possible little scenario so that way someone's not disappointed in me, because I failed to include a niche condition. But as per usual, I would love to know your opinions in the comments section and how you feel about this story. Cross-posted from r/Am I the Jerk. Am I the jerk for not agreeing to my boyfriend's open relationship rules? 25 female. Very early on in the relationship with my boyfriend, 25 male, he told me that he had to be in an open relationship. I hadn't been in one before, but I said I'd give it a try. And it was clear when we talked about it that either of us could sleep with whoever we wanted. I said okay. We've been dating for 11 months, and over time, I really started to love him. I know he has quite a few very casual partners, but no serious relationships. I actually didn't have any other partners, though, because I was so happy just being with him. Then, 2 months ago, I was drunk and met a guy at a party, and we slept together. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong whatsoever, so when it came up with my boyfriend, I didn't try to hide it, but he was really upset. He said it was disrespectful for me to do that. I was kind of shocked. I'm fine with not sleeping with other people, but the problem is, now he's really paranoid and controlling ever since, then accusing me of looking at other guys or flirting with them all the time, constantly checking my phone, wanting me to check in every hour when I'm out, and asking to track my location, etc. It's really bothering me. So basically, he wants to have an open relationship only on his side. He says he loves me and that I should be loyal to him. But when I bring up how the rule doesn't apply to him, he gets angry. He says that so many men feel stuck in boring relationships, and he's not going to be one of them, and I shouldn't try to control him, etc. I get it, but it doesn't feel right. I love him a lot, but I'm seriously thinking about breaking up with him. You should. Hands down, without a doubt, that is a relationship that needs to end. In my eyes, there is nothing wrong with having a polyamorous relationship or even just an open relationship where you're open to sleep with whoever you want to, but it's the romance. That's the important part of it. The emotional connection. If that's how you want to live your life, that's entirely up to you. But it can't be a rules for me but not for thee situation. This is just a guy that wants permission to cheat. That's all it is. He doesn't actually want to be in an open relationship. He wants to be able to sleep with whoever he wants to, while also keeping a very tight and controlling leash around his girlfriend. Usually in relationships like this, if you establish a rule for your partner, there's usually an expectation that you will also abide by that rule, unless explicitly communicated with otherwise. But in this situation, the boyfriend communicated that yeah, she was open to have the open relationship and to be with whoever she wanted to, and she took his word for it. Only then to find herself in an extremely controlling and paranoid relationship. The guy doesn't want an open relationship, he just, as I said, wants an excuse to cheat. He wants to keep the girlfriend all to himself, while also having the ability to go to whoever he wants to. He is very clearly uncomfortable with the rules that he established himself, and honestly, if he's dead set on going this direction, OP needs to break up with him. Because chances are, he's probably going to continue to sleep around because as he said, many men feel stuck in boring relationships, and he's not going to be one of them. And I shouldn't try to control him. He made his stance clear. If he wants to sleep around but won't let you sleep around, leave him. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.